Today, Tinubu will be meeting Soludo for some political conversations, and I am very damn sure that Soludo will tender Mazi Kanu case on the table of discussion. Now, it is only an efulefu, only an enemy of self-determination, self-liberation that will be against a Soludo having this conversation with Tinubu on the release of Mazi Kanu. Let us get something clear. Mazi Kanu has paid his due to show to you that he is a true revolutionary, that in no any circumstance is he a sellout. So I have seen some conversations where some people are saying that no matter what, Mazi Kanu should not accept what is called political solution. How naive can you be? We must understand that a Tinubu is always ready for negotiation, provided that you will give him some form of advantages. And we must understand that come 2027, Tinubu is doing everything to break the wings. He is doing everything to clip the excesses of the northern Fulani oligarchs. One of the elements, or should I say one of the critical force that the North are so outrightly scared of is Mazi Kanu. Okay, so a situation whereby Mazi Kanu regains his freedom, but for one thing and one thing alone: would you support his run again in 2027? Is that a fair deal? Well, before we start putting all the blames on Tinubu, one thing you should understand is it was the former Fulani man that arrested Mazi Kanu unjustly. They have arrested him in 2020, and for 5 good years, right, this man has been kept there for 3 years without any form of court hearing. When they had a court hearing, the Court of Appeal said Nnamdi Kanu should go, but extrajudiciously, Malami, the Attorney General, said no, Mazi Kanu is a terrorist to the Nigerian sovereignty. And I ask, Fulanis are given a second chance, but again, I remember, dog do not hit dogs. So hence, why Buhari initiated that program, he called it the Boko Haram's rehabilitation camp. But today we have a southerner there, and just in few hours, Mazi Kanu will be in court again, while Soludo will be meeting Tinubu to discuss. We know that the progenitor of the Biafran cause is an Anambrarian. We know that Anambra is very critical to this cause of Biafran struggle. We understand that a Soludo also who has been coming out unashamed. Soludo, amongst all the Southeast governors, has been one of the most vocal governors seeking for the release of Mazi Kanu. Even when Buhari was there, Soludo came out and he said, let me be the surety, release Mazi Kanu. But we know how Buhari turned deaf ears. He didn't listen to Soludo. He told Soludo to keep quiet, that he would not negotiate with terrorists. However, on the other side, we saw how Buhari negotiated with the terrorists that perpetrated the Abuja-Kaduna Railway, attack. We have to see that at this junction, a Soludo whom so many people might not like is indeed a Biafran. Yes, he is a silent Biafran because again, he has benefited from the Nigerian system, but he has not betrayed the Biafran cause. For you to be an APGA member, for you to be a beneficiary of APGA, you must understand that the ideology is let the southeastern part of the country be a one-party state. But because of the Republican nature of the Igbos, we can see that all the states are not having one party. Anambra is the only Abga state. Enugu is PDP. Abia is Labour Party. Then we have Imo and Ebonyi, which are APC. We have gotten to that junction where sometimes you would not necessarily compromise, but you just take a pause. In no any disguise, am I saying that Mazi Kanu should drop his struggle for Biafra? But one thing is, Mazi Kanu and his team must support the cause of Soludo to have discussions, negotiations with Tinubu so that a Mazi Kanu can be used to checkmate the North. For me, everything that Mazi Kanu portrays, that he says, every statement of his has always been about the emancipation of the South. I said South. Even though I am a Yoruba man, I am saying that all the words of Mazi Kanu is for the emancipation right from the middle belt down to the deepest part of the southern part of Nigeria. Because I know that the words of Mazi Kanu shakes. It sends shockwaves through the spines of the power grabbers in Nigeria. Those that have seen themselves to be the owners of the land. People that have seen themselves that nobody can become anything in Nigeria without their anointing. This is who Mazi Kanu represents. And for that reason, I say that the emancipation, that the gospel, that whatever happens to Biafra will have a ripple effect across the whole of the South. And you see that chalk that the North has over the South, whereby they use that they say they are the power holders, the power owners, and they are the power decision makers in Nigeria. So that belief, when the South, by struggle, unite. Yes. What do I mean unite? Let me expatiate. When Biafra goes, the Yoruba nation will also want to go, which means that they are united in that struggle against the force that be. You get me now? So it is clear Soludo will tender the conversation. And Tinubu, that I know, will also say, fine, if I am to let him go, what can you guarantee? And my question is to the Biafrans, to Igbos who believe in the Nigerian cause, to Igbos who believe that Nigeria should either divide or restructure, don't you think a release of Mazi Kanu will restore peace first and foremost, will restore the economic advantage that the Southeast have always enjoyed above all other regions too? And then thirdly, don't you think it is still a right path that if a Tinubu can release Nnamdi Kanu, then maybe in return, maybe a 10%, maybe a 15%, maybe even a 50% vote needs to go to him. Not because he is doing anything special, but what he is doing is he is putting our enemies, those that have decided that anything restructuring, anything that has to do with conversations of restructuring, they will silence it. Don't you think for that only one reason, there may be, because a Tinubu releasing Mazi Kanu is one thing and one thing alone, that Tinubu is ready to step on every northern oligarch. Today, the North have put Nnamdi Kanu on a terrorist list, even ahead of their bandits, even ahead of the Boko Haram Iswa, even ahead of Bello Turji. If you ask me, how do I know? The former media aide of Buhari Bashir Ahmed said anybody that sympathizes with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist of one Nigeria. No, I am not a terrorist of one Nigeria. It is you, Bashir Ahmed, because you would not open your heart and your head to listen that what Nnamdi Kanu is asking is a way for us to decouple this country so that we all can progress individually. Even in that decoupling, some little negotiations can be made. I believe some concessions. Is it not the oil? I will not be the oil they enter on an eye for that not. There can be some concessions that okay, fine. If for instance we have in total for now, we have 100 oil rigs or oil well. A concession can be made. I know that a concession can be made. That out of those, about 10 oil rigs can be given to the Old North. Clear. Another concession that can be made is okay, fine. For us, let us manage our resources. However, we will still be donating maybe 25 or 30% of whatever revenue that we make to the entire North. From all the oil rigs, but 70% will now be owned by the real owners of the resources. I believe the South is ready for such negotiations. But in a situation whereby the resource belongs to me, 100,000 is mine. But a policy that says that because some people have given birth uncontrolled, from my 100,000, I will not give them 85%. How bad? Now me send them, make they go born. I mean, I mean, say make they know if you owe their thing. If I say I want to have just 1 or 2 kids, but my 100,000, let me have the right share I am supposed to have, which is let me have 70%. Why 30? Or let me even, let's say on a minimum, let me have 60 while I send 40 to the federal. I will be extremely rich and I can decide to use that money to build seaport, to build the east to west road. I can decide to use that money to generate power and electricity for the industries that I have littered around the whole of South. So you as a Biafran, or like I said, an Easterner that still believe in the cause of Nigeria, if you do not support Tinubu releasing Nnamdi Kanu, how do you intend to regain your dignity in Nigeria? The release of Nnamdi Kanu is the total restoration of the Igbo dignity in Nigerian politics. I'm telling you. The release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the restoration of the Igbo man's dignity in the Nigerian politics, because it will send a total silence to the Fulanese, to the Northerners who have thought that Tinubu will not do anything against their wish and will. When you don't support him, he won't be able to do it. It's clear. I am not a fan of Tinubu, but you have to calm down and critically think that, what could be the advantage? What could be my benefit? Then what would be the price that I will pay? Or you think an article will come in and it will release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? You have to be a joker. You gotta be a joker. Oh, so you think that an Obi will come in? Because for Obi to win, come 2027, he needs the support of the North. Overwhelmingly. And the North will give him the condition, Oga, if we will vote you, don't release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That's one. And two, all the steps that Tinubu has been making to silence us, you will restore our position back. These are the two conditions they will give him. If you think I am joking, the condition Sardauna gave Awolowo and Zeke when they were fighting for independence, you know, when you listen to it, it is one of the most silliest and the most stupidest condition ever that I've ever heard. Let me tell you the condition. Tafawa Balewa and Ado Bayero and Abo, they said, Oga, if Nigeria wants independence, the North is not ready for independence. Awolowo asked him, how come? What do you mean? These guys have been ruling us for over 200 to 300 years. And at this stage, you are educated, I am educated, we can govern our regions. Let us negotiate. He said, no, I am not ready. I prefer the white man to keep ruling over me. Oh, you Awolowo and Zeke, you people, because you know that you are educated. Eh? You look at the whole civil service. It is, if you don't say a Yoruba man, you say an Igbo man. Oh, look at the Nigerian army. Everywhere an Igbo man, because then the Igbos were dominating the civil service, the Nigerian military. The Yorubas were dominating in terms of police and also causing some business aspects. And even in politics, then in education. But then he said no. If I will agree for any independence, we have to write it in the constitution that in a place where an Igbo man is required to score 250 to study engineering, my own sons and daughters in the north should be required to score 150. Do you agree? That is where they started holding our progress. That was how they held our progress. Right? A situation whereby they said, if you make 1 million in alcohol, but you know me, I don't drink alcohol. I said, yes, I know. But if you make 1 million in alcohol, you will give me 500,000. If you don't want that, no independence. I don't support independence. And then Awolowo and Zeke, unknowingly, because they were anxious, the anxiety for independence, they went into that deal. And since that day, for over 65 years, look at where we are. We were captured because of our haste, or because we couldn't dam the consequences that if the North refuses to compromise or to yield, or the North refuses to agree that everybody should be on equal playing field, then we should all remain colonized. Today, Tinubu is ready to dam the consequences of the North. Is it not clear? He has been building inroads in the south. He has almost united all the southern part of Nigeria. The part that is remain are some parts in the middle belt and some parts in the southeast. Or do you think that if Tinubu is able to unite the south politically, middle belt politically, southeast politically, what do you think the norths are? The hegemony, the monopoly of power, the monopoly they think in decision making that they have, even in the House of Rep, when it comes to bill of restructuring, have you thought about it? How easy it will be for South to say that, okay, let us leave this country or let us restructure this country, because they have all the governors, they have all the middle belters, who of course are the North Central. Don't you know that the North will start shaking? You have to think to see where we are going. Well, if Tinubu doesn't do it, someone will come and do it. But we have to take our best chance, because we know that by 2031, or mistakenly, a northerner gets there by 2027, all these gains that Tinubu has been making for the southern emancipation, right? The same thing that Mazi and Kanu have been preaching. My brother, they will reverse it. They will do what? They will reverse them. Clear and simple. No negotiation. A Soludo must be supported. The teams of Mazi and Kanu must see to the light that, well, Tinubu is not actually the enemy. Look at the way the court proceedings is being accelerated. Look at the way court proceedings is being hastened. Like, let us quicken it. And coincidentally, I don't want to say it's coincidence. I think it is a strategy. Tinubu is going to Anambra. What is he going there for? They say he wants to go and commission a government house. It is not something substantial. Tinubu is going there to have political negotiation. Open your eyes. He's going to Anambra. Soludo, my brother. We are just 1 year away from campaign season. Oh. And I know your brother, I'm not the one holding him. I might be the president, but we have to be diplomatic and systematic in the release. And I can release Mazi Kanu. I will do that at the right time. But what can you guarantee me? These are the conversations that we have. Because these are elders in the game. I have never said you should like Tinubu. But sometimes, if your enemy is working in your favor, you support your enemy. I mean, not be so. If you are just joining, please kindly like, subscribe, and share. Bye for now.